Hey, it's Michael Saul, but everybody calls me Tiny. This video is, Alexa, please tell Jeff to calm down. This is stock market analysis for the week of April 15th, 2019. If you would like to receive intra-week updates, go to www.attackthemarkets.com, put in your first name, your best email address, follow the directions, and you will be on the distribution list. Join the Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/attackthemarkets. If you like what you're hearing, and come on, you know you love it, give me a thumbs up and leave a comment so I move up the ranks in YouTube. And to never miss a video when I upload one, click the subscribe button and smash the bell, and you will be notified when a new video is uploaded to the channel. Okay, so before we get into the Amazon talk for the week, let's take a look at the market. So the S&P 500 closed above this key doji that I highlighted just about, I think 2 weeks ago was the first time I highlighted it. And it's just another level to get through that qualifies this move as one headed to new all-time highs. I am not off my opinion that happens. Last week, I thought we would get a pause or a pullback. It wasn't much of one. I was not looking to short, and same thing here. We could pull back from here once again, or pause again. I'm not looking to short it here, or this could be the break that finally brings in the last stumble of momentum to push it up to the new highs. Now, I'm not a big fan of buying the breakout when it comes from a little bit of a distance. And this is only a real small distance. What I like to see is something where the market consolidates, and the longer the better. I don't mean for years, but even a couple of weeks is fine. People start getting bored. Oh no, what's going to happen? And then boom, it breaks out. But when it goes higher, it just lifts higher and just gets range expansion, that's when I get a bit nervous that the move is going to stick. Now, it is April 15th. It is the middle of the month, and you have by now, I'm sure, heard of the sell in May and go away trend. Well, that's coming up. Again, do I go exactly by the calendar when I'm looking to time the market? Absolutely not. But I do use it as a background indication. And I think it's silly not to. I think it's silly to sit there and go, oh, that doesn't matter. That's sell in May and go away. Yeah, that doesn't work. Well, what does doesn't work mean? Okay? With seasonal tendencies, they're always good to observe. But, of course, you always want to use, or at least I always want to use, you can do whatever you want, it's your money. I always want to use price action first. Price action first gives me the signals, but I'm always looking for the background information to get a lean. Okay, whether it's seasonal trends, whether we're coming up on earnings season, whether a big announcement is coming for a stock, whatever it is. Okay, that's what I want to do in order to lean one way, but I really want to make the commitment once I get the technical trigger, okay, the price action trigger. So I'm thinking we're going to new highs here in the SPY. I still have a very I think there's a very high probability to go there. Is that anything 100%? Of course not. It's 100% when it gets there, right? But until it gets there, all you can have is just high, low, medium probability. To me, I believe there's a high probability that the S&P gets there. I believe there's a high probability the Dow gets there. I believe there's a high probability that the NASDAQ 100 gets there. I mean, it's basically the closest to it as far as percentages. It's right there. Now here, see how it's grinding a little bit? This counters the S&P a little bit with this kind of grinding move, right? Especially in the direction of the trend. Maybe this one can break and get a move. And I don't expect the NASDAQ to do one thing and the S&P to do another thing. But if you look at the difference, right? So the S&P had this little bout of range expansion, and if it just went up from here, right, like it got there Monday, Tuesday, whatever, that would be with range expansion, as opposed to the NASDAQ 100, which is kind of creeping up to the high, and then maybe it breaks. So again, I mean, I want to watch the price action. Now the Russell, it's lagging. It's over the 200-day moving average. It's been there before, and it's come back down. So the Russell has to get in motion here. Now, can the market go higher without the Russell leading? Absolutely, of course it can. But it's good to see the indexes like the Russell and the mid-caps and the NASDAQ leading the way. Here's the mid-caps looking better than the Russell, but not as good as the S&P or the NASDAQ here. So we don't need the Russell to lead the way. We don't need the Russell to be at all-time highs to get a tradable move going. But it helps. It helps when everything's in sync and when you even see some leadership, like I said, in like the Russell or the NASDAQ, okay? So let's look at some sectors. Semiconductors at new highs. Nice. KLA tanker. See how it's coiling up? This is what I like to see. Under the highs. Let's see if it can release, get to the 130s as a first stop. Here's NVIDIA coiling sideways, but you got to watch this 200-day. That could come in as potential resistance. Here's Intel up at the highs. Not quite yet here, but close enough, right? So we should get there if it continues. But again, does it pull back first before it gets there, or does it just move higher in a momentum burst? That's what I want to pay attention to. Here's the banking index. Look how the banks came up to the 200-day and turned. Could see Bank of America, though. Yeah, that's on its way, so that's nice. Here's Citigroup acting okay. JP Morgan acting okay. What about Bank of New York? Yeah, even Bank of New York. Now, Northern Trust, right before the 200-day moving average, it turned. Here's Zion, also right before the 200-day moving average, and it turned as well. These are more regional banks. Well, these are regional banks, sorry. So if I'm looking at banks, and if the banking index can clear the 200-day, I probably want to stick with the big names for now, as they are acting the best, right? So, you got Bank of America, like I said, Citigroup, and JP Morgan. What about Goldman? Not technically a bank, but it will often trade like one. Look how it reversed off the 200-day moving average, but then you look like a broker-dealer index, okay, and that's above. And that looks like it may want to rock and roll here. What about Morgan? Yeah, Morgan's on its way moving. Got like a leg mason. Nice move here. Again, I don't like to chase momentum, so I'd rather wait for a pause or a pullback. How about the biotechs? So the biotechs were looking like they wanted to test the highs, but instead they pulled in here. We can look like an Amgen. It's just nothing to see here. Move along. Here's Biogen, right, which had the Alzheimer's trial news, and then it tried to bounce. But this looks more like a bear flag to me than something I'd be looking to buy. But right now I don't have a clear signal. Let's look at some of the glamour stocks. Apple, pausing here. Let's see if this can turn here and try to make a rally. Have resistance up here right about 210. How about the Zuck book? So the Zuck book is creeping up. All right, you do have resistance right up here. Let's see, at 188.50. So we want to watch to see if it can get there. Netflix. So Netflix got smacked down 4.5% because Disney unveiled its streaming service, and it's undercutting the Netflix pricing. Let's see how Netflix reacts. I don't think it's a sell signal just because of the news of Disney, but definitely want to watch to see if it maybe goes down, maybe test the 200-day moving average, see if anybody's waiting there to buy it, program traders, etc. Let's look at Disney. Wow, just a monster move. Full disclosure, my children do own Disney. They were given us gifts from their godfather as well as their grandfather. I'm not looking to sell into this, and plus it's such a large cap stock. There's no pump and dumping going on. They don't own enough shares for that, but I just thought I would disclose that. I mean, it's better than not knowing about it, right? But no, they're not looking to sell those shares. Okay, so now let's talk about Amazon a little bit, and then we'll continue. So the title of, we'll continue with the other stocks. So the title of the video has to do with the two pieces of news on Amazon this week. So the first news is that it was discovered that there are thousands of conversations being listened to by a team at Amazon through the Echo devices. And Paul Schatz, our good friend here at Attacker Markets, he was on Yahoo Finance this week, and he talked about how, why doesn't Amazon just hire a bunch of families to, or ask for families to volunteer, or hire a bunch of families? And yeah, it's a great point. I mean, Nielsen does it, and it's certainly not about the money. Okay, all you have to do is offer some Echo devices to some families, and you will have people lining up. You won't be able to, if you say, look, we're taking 10,000 families, you'll probably sell it out in under an hour, right? If they're just giving away Echo devices. Like, why make it this way? Have it be something like, it was a Bloomberg report, I believe. I don't know, it was one of the new, I get them, to me they overlap on each other, but I believe it was a Bloomberg report that discovered this. I mean, it really shouldn't be surprising, right? Everybody says, now everything you say or everything you type digitally is saved forever, so just be careful what you're doing, right? So that's the answer to that if you want to avoid the bad press that happened because of other people, that Amazon is actually listening to you. But I mean, look what the stock did. Basically nothing. I mean, it didn't do anything Thursday or Friday. I mean, it was down a little bit, right? But it's not selling off harshly or anything like that off the news. I think more or less because people either expect it or people really don't care. It's right at a resistance point here. If we were to pop up above this level, it could be headed back for new highs. Now, the second piece of news was Jeff Bezos, the CEO and the majority share owner, whatever it is, of Amazon, richest man in the world, all that stuff, right? He went on Twitter and was talking about how they raised the minimum wage to $15, and he was telling the other retailers to do it as well, and he had some blowback on that. First, let's take a look at them. Hold on one second. So the first was the Walmart's Executive Vice President of Corporate Affairs, Dan Bartlett. He tweeted, "Hey, retail companies out there, how about paying your taxes?" So he was taking a rub that Amazon paid no taxes on $11.2 billion in profits for 2018. And then my favorite was Devin Wenig. I'll probably butchering his last name, but whatever. I thought he had a savage response. He's the CEO of eBay. He said, "Well, I appreciate the ink dedicated to eBay from the CEO of the company not focused on competition. Think I'll dedicate my letter to customers, purpose, and strategy. We don't compete with our sellers. We don't bundle endless services to create barriers to competition." I thought that was pretty savage, right? Because that's what Amazon is accused of with the retailers. I know a few retailers myself. I wouldn't call them friends, but they're definitely acquaintances who were put out of business by Amazon. They copied their product, and they wound up offering, undercutting them, and wound up putting them out of business. So that does happen. Now, there's two ways to look at this. First is the human side of things, which is, hey, Bezos is trying to do the right thing. He's trying to get people to pay more, and he's actually trying to get them to pay more than they are, so they'll raise the minimum wage. All right, great. But let's talk about this from a company perspective and from a marketing perspective, right? From a stock perspective, okay? He has a fiduciary duty to his shareholders to focus on the company, not worrying about. Of course, he's worrying about what the competition is doing, right? But he should be worried about how to beat the competition into the ground, right? Not worrying about what other people are paying their workers. That's my opinion on that. I'm sure you must have your own. Just leave a comment on the YouTube channel, and I'll be sure to get in the discussion with you. Okay? But anyway, that's my opinion with Amazon. To me, from a human point of view, of course, yeah, it's great. He's urging and he is leading by example, but he's urging other companies to do what he did. But from a market point, and from a company point, his fiduciary duty is the stock and is his company. All right? Okay, great. So let's continue. I have a couple of stocks that I want to look over as well. I had a friend of mine for about 20 years. His name is Dez. I think he's in Florida now, but he originally was in Pennsylvania, then he moved to California. I met him out in California, went to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles with him, and now he's in Florida. So he wrote me and he asked me to talk about 5G for a couple minutes and also go over some stocks. Now, full disclosure, all these stocks are large caps. I am making the assumption that he owns these. I doubt what I'm saying on this video is going to get them pumped up. Okay, they're pretty large caps. When you see them, you'll know what I mean. So there's no pump and dumping going on here. I don't own any of these, but he probably does. I doubt he's looking for the juice from this video in order to sell them. Okay, so first let's talk about 5G. So 5G is the top of the priority list for President Trump. I read about it every so often, but after the question, I did a little bit of a little bit more reading. And unlike 4G LTE, which is really for cell phones, 5G expands into other devices and gets the internet where it would normally cannot get to, which is pretty great. And it's important for not only because it's going to build digital infrastructure. It's going to lead to 3 million new jobs. I think 250 billion, I think, was the number as far as money-wise. And, of course, there is a security aspect of it, right? That's why it's high on President Trump's list. So the question is it time now to jump into some 5G stocks? Maybe not right this minute, but there will definitely be opportunities coming around with these. I'm going to be doing some more research into them and looking for some of the hidden gems maybe some of the stocks that aren't really covered yet by the big houses, etc. And there may be some opportunity there. Okay, so that's why I'm talking about 5G. I think it's going to be great when it happens, but I'm not nowhere near an expert on it as of yet. But it is definitely something I'm looking forward to, and looking forward to taking advantage of the opportunities. Now let's look at some of the stocks he wanted me to look at. First was Boeing. So Boeing has a potential W pattern here right off the 200-day moving average. I'm not a buyer personally, right? But you want to clear this last resistance point and see if it could come up. Of course, there is the issue here with the planes being grounded and banned and all this stuff. So overreaction more than likely on the big move down. But again, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a buying opportunity. Raytheon is sitting at the 200-day moving average. So this is a key decision area, I like to call these. It's probably not going to stay here for very long. Now, it's already been here for over a month, but it could release to the upside or it could come back down and break down to the downside. Again, maybe it's going to stay in the range for a little bit, but it doesn't usually ranges don't last forever. Look at this one, lasted a couple months before it popped and then it dropped. So again, I don't have a buying opportunity here. It's right at the 200-day moving average, but definitely want to pay attention to it. Here's General Electric. So General Electric, we talked about being in a coil. It broke down to the downside. So it's right below the first support point. Next support is down here at 894, and then you have a lap fill at 877. So that's what I want to watch with GE. I'm not really interested in going long until it breaks out above the 200-day moving average. Here's Caterpillar. Caterpillar looks like it could be ready to make a move. There is a triple top here, but I want to see how does it break. Does it break with force and volume? Does it keep going? You do have next resistance right above at 144.78, and then up here at 146. So we want to watch that on Caterpillar. And I think that's all the stocks. Hang on one second. Now, two more. So Lockheed Martin, another one. Yeah, so I like the way Lockheed just got over the 200-day moving average, but I want to see if it can clear this level here at the 312s, and then you got this level up here at 315, and then finally Microsoft. I mean, at new highs. Look at how it's grinding higher. I like that. A lot of people like the big moves like this, but look what happens after big moves. It's a place, not a part. It's a place where selling comes in, right? Oh, nice big move, right? Trends end in a climax. Boom. I like when it grinds higher. That's what I'm looking for. But could it get to 125, 130? Absolutely. This stock is on a tear. It's an absolute monster, and it looks like it's going to continue for the foreseeable future. I don't see a short signal here, but I would, of course, always up at highs. I always want to make sure my stops are tight, okay? So let's look at the rest. Here's TLT, the bonds, and the bonds fell last week, which means rates were rising. Not too much, though. You got the 50-day moving average. See if this holds here and can turn us. Here's oil. So oil is coiled up above the 200-day moving average. Plan for prices to go high. There is a seasonal high for oil the July 4th weekend. That's still a couple of months away, though. So oil could get going, which means gas could be on the rise. How about the gold miners? Gold miners are sloppy, as is the yellow metal. Here's GLD is what I like to use. So it's more sloppy than anything here. So I would watch for, put some trend lines on it like this, and then look for a break one way or the other out of it. These may not be the cutest lines, so we want to see what we do from here before we want to make a commitment here with gold. Okay, that's it. Any questions? tiny@attackthemarkets.com. Don't forget to give me a like and leave a comment. Hit the subscribe button and smash the bell if you want to be updated when a new video is uploaded. Have a great trading week. I will talk to you in the intra-week updates or in next week's video.